Hi guys. SDW got me thinking. He made a video the other day. He put out a video. And the video had to do with who is Jaguar's son, Jovani's father. I don't think anyone has ever spoke about Jovani's father. SDW brought it up. And he was trying to connect the dots. And it just got me thinking, he's right. Nobody never brought up Jovani's father. Who the heck is this man? Everybody talks about Sam Sr. Jaguar cusses him out. But she doesn't cuss Jovani's father out. And I had to think, why is that? Why is it that this woman has never brought up Jovani's father? Never cussed him out, never had an unkind word to say about him, although he was not a part of Jovani's life. Or was he? And so I was thinking today, maybe I should do a video because I'm sure some of you guys have questions about that as well. And some of you guys probably were thinking, who the heck is Jovani's father? Nobody talks about him. Not even the family. It seems to be the biggest secret, the elephant in the room. And I said maybe I should address it like SDW addressed it the other day. But he was trying to imply that Lachelle's husband might be the papi. That's what the implication was. And I said, well, we got to look at it closely, more closer, because the man could be innocent. Jaguar said he essayed her just before Lachelle was getting married. She said she went to her mom, and she told her mom, and her mom said, well, Lachelle have got to get married, and she did not believe Jaguar. And she told her husband the same thing. Lachelle always denied it. Everybody denies it every time it comes up, whether or not this man essayed Jaguar. Well, we know there was sexual activity going on at the age of 14 for her to give birth by the age of 15. If it wasn't 14, I stand corrected. She gave birth at 15. So the essaying must have taken place when she was 14. Or maybe it wasn't an essay. Maybe she was one of those fast girls and don't know who the baby daddy is. But it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? That all these family members did the circuit. For years now, they've been talking. They did Tasha K, they did SDW, they did all the other bloggers. But yet, nobody brought it up. So SDW said he was connecting the dots. And it don't add up to me. Something ain't clean in the buttermilk. Something ain't clean in the buttermilk. Because this is it, folks. If Jaguar got pregnant at 14, she gave birth at 15. She signed away her parental rights to her parents, according to SDW, at when the child was born, before the child turned 1. Lachelle, the mom and dad, helped to take care of Jovani, and Jaguar was a visiting mom because she was on the road doing her music. But nobody mentions the father. Did he pay child support? Are there any pictures of Jovani and his dad? Why is the family tight-lipped about the father? Jaguar does not mention the father. What is the deal here, folks? What's the dealio? So this story have a lot of implications. If she was essayed around 14, it's got to be around 14 because she gave birth at 15. Who impregnated her? Why don't anybody want to talk about it? Do they know this person? What we do know is that Lachelle helped take care of Jovani, and Allegedly, he's got the Wallace's name. I don't know. I didn't see any paperwork. SDW said he saw paperwork, and I would have to see a birth certificate. I don't care what kind of paperwork he saw or is out there. I would have to see the birth certificate with the father section filled in with the man's name. Or is the husband innocent? And Jaguar was just one of those teenagers that was very sexually active and don't know who the father is. That would explain also. That would explain why nobody talks about the dad. Because maybe nobody knows who the dad is. Maybe the family don't know who the father is, including Jaguar. Some of these teenagers like to hop around. When they get pregnant, they cannot pinpoint who done it because they've been so busy. But on the other hand, why would he have Lachelle's husband's name on the paper? I did not see the paper. I would have to see the paper to say, yes, the name is there. I did not see any paper, no birth certificate. SDW did not show a piece of paper. Maybe he did in the coffee room, the coffee lounge, which I'm not a member of. But maybe he showed it there. But I did not see him show a paper. But yet he was making those allegations. I want you guys to listen to his reporting. And then you guys can come to your own conclusions. Because as far as I'm concerned, the verdict is still out. Nothing is conclusive because we don't know the type of teenager Jaguar was. We don't know if the essay happened. Maybe Lachelle just wanted to give Jovani a last name and wanted to make it look like if he was a member of her family. But then by giving him the husband's last name, implicated her husband as the father. I wonder if she thought it through or if they thought it through. Because that's the only conclusion people would get from this man's name being on the paperwork, is that he's the father. Or maybe, just maybe, he adopted Jovani since he was a baby and gave them his last name. See, folks, it's not cut and dry like SDW was making it out to be. There are a lot of meandering in this story. Another question I have is, if the grandparents adopted Jovani, why did he not have their last name? When you adopt a child, the child carries your last name. So it's very puzzling to me that the grandparents would adopt him and not give him their last name. Something clean in the buttermilk. Something ain't clean. This story is not making any kind of sense. Did the family just said that in the interview that the grandparents adopted him to cover the fact that maybe his father was Lachelle's husband? I don't know. But it makes no sense to me that he would have Lachelle's husband's last name, Wallace, and not the people who adopted him, the grandparents. It makes no sense. Guys, drop it in the comment section. This is the question. If you adopt a child, whether you're a family member or not, would you not want to give that child your last name? Because you're doing the adopting, you're feeding, housing, clothing, sheltering, etc. That child, with all the efforts you put into that child, you would think you would want to give that child your last name. It's not making sense to me. But if Lachelle and her husband adopted Jovani and not the grandparents, then I can see why he ended up with the name Wallace. And I'm wondering if he did essay her or not. And I'm also wondering, was she sexually active with anyone else? Now, I know she said her dad and her used to make 2 trips sometimes from New Jersey to Philadelphia to clean office buildings. And at 14, I'm thinking some young ladies are sexually active, and a lot of times if they have 2 or 3 partners, they get pregnant, they don't know who the baby daddy is. And so oftentimes they pin it on someone that they can see and feel and touch, and everybody can point to and say, yeah, you're the pappy. Oftentimes it's not that person. Oftentimes the young ladies don't know who it is because they slept with so many people that they falsely blame. They put a false blame on an innocent person, it's an innocent man. And so I was looking at it from that perspective, because SDW said the name on the paper where it says father, he did not see the birth certificate. There lies the problem. There's no proof in what he's saying. It has Lachelle's husband's last name. And I thought about it. I said, well, that doesn't prove that he's the father. It only proves that Lachelle was willing to put her husband's name on the paper to give the child a father. That's what it, that's one implication. Because SDW said the grandparents adopted Jovani before he turned 1. For insurance reasons, because Jaguar didn't have insurance, so they adopted Jovani. And Lachelle, as well as the parents, the grandparents, raised him. And I got to thinking, I said, well, they could have put down the family's name, Jaguar's last name. What is it? Jaguar Wright? They could have put down Wright. Why did they not put down Wright? Why put down Lachelle's husband's name? And we know that Lachelle helped to raise Jovani because her children and Jovani were like brothers and sisters. They were very close. So she says. So the family says. So I got to thinking, Lachelle and her mom is hated by Jaguar because they denied that Lachelle's husband essayed her. Was there another reason for the hatred that she feels for these people? Is her hatred for these people have to do with her son, her deceased son, God rest his soul, Jovani? Did she feel as though her motherhood was taken from her because they adopted her son? Did she feel as though maybe he belonged to Lachelle's husband because she claimed he SA'd her? But that's the one thing she never admitted to, that he got her pregnant. In all the interviews that I watched, she never once said he got her pregnant. Because that would mean some type of family tie, incest. But it's not a bloodline. Incest is supposed to be with bloodlines. But my point is, she never once said, he got me pregnant. He essayed me and got me pregnant. And we know Jaguar's mouth. If that had happened, she would have told it to the world. So, I'm thinking now, SDW was swaying, connecting the dots, and making it appear as though the husband is the pappy. Lachelle's husband is the pappy. I am not going to be in agreement with that. For the simple reasons that 1, Jaguar never said that man impregnated her. 2, maybe Lachelle and the husband looked at Jovani as their child and gave him their last name, complicating matters. And we know in the black families how we like to complicate matters. And so, this is not a cut and dry situation. Because Jovani carried this, allegedly, because I didn't see the papers, so I have to say alleged, because allegedly he carried Lachelle's husband's last name does not mean that that's his father. It just means that it's family and they want to keep him with a last, they want to give him a last name. That's all it means. Does not mean that this man was his father. Although she never spoke about Jovani's father, and I don't know what reason she did not speak about him and does not speak about him. I am thinking that she don't know who the father is. And that's why I can't say it's Lachelle's husband. Because maybe Jaguar herself don't know who the father is. Maybe she was one of them teenagers who were hot under the collar and, just experimenting sexually. I don't know. I'm just putting food out for thought here so you guys can think about it. Because, some of these teenagers, they go with one boy and they break up, they go with the next one. It's the age of experimentation with a lot of things. And so I'm thinking, she's 14. She's going back and forth from New Jersey to Philly. She comes from a middle-class family. Her mother is a school teacher. Her father have a business. And they're church-going people. They wouldn't want to know that their young daughter, the baby in the family, is pregnant at the age of 14. So what do? What would you do, guys, if you come from such a family back in the day? What most of those church-going folks, the good church-going folks now, what they would do is put on somebody else's name on the birth certificate. If you don't know who the papi is, you put on somebody's name, anybody. Choose. But I'm wondering, why did they not put down Jaguar's name? Everybody's different. Every family is different. I know in my family, the girls who had babies, they knew who the father was. But if they were single, by the time the pregnancy came along and they were single from the fathers, they would not put down the father's name. They would put down their maiden name, the name that they were born with, and that's what they would give to the child. Like if your name is Suzette Wright, you're going out with a guy, you're pregnant, you and the guy breaks up. The guy's name is Fitzgerald. When you give birth, Fitzgerald is not there in the delivery room, and you put on your maiden name. Because he's not there. He's not going to contest whatever name you give the child. And so that's what I'm thinking, that maybe they just put down a name just to give Jovani a last name. It could have been the grandparents' name, the name that Jaguar was born to. What is her last name? Jaguar Wright, right? They could have given him Wright as a last name, but they chose to give him Lachelle's husband's last name. Allegedly. And I'm still wondering, why would that be? I didn't see the paperwork, but why would they do that? Because it only implies that he's the father. Unless Lachelle and her husband have planned on adopting him and raising him as their own child. And could be the grandparents, Jaguar's mom and dad, said, listen, you're not going to adopt him. We're going to adopt him because we want Jackie to see her child whenever she wants to. But I definitely don't think that Lachelle's husband is the father. Because I know how complicated black families tend to do their business. It's usually very messy. You don't know who the father is. This person's calling that person brother when they're really not brother, and cousin when they really are brothers, and father when they really are, it gets complicated in black families. But I want you guys to listen to what SDW had to say, because this is his theory. I'm just examining what he said because I don't believe it's true. If it was true, Jaguar would have pointed the finger, the papi, as Lachelle's husband. And I don't believe it because it haven't come out of her mouth. And she is the best knower Okay, so allegations, I'm not going to believe. Fact, I'm believing, and the fact is, Jaguar has never said that this man was Jovani's father. And this is why I said maybe the family don't know who the father is, and maybe Jaguar don't know who the father is, and Lachelle and her husband got together and said, well, let's give him our last name, and he can be raised with our children like if they're brother and sisters, right? That's my theory, because I know how messy black families are. So here is SDW's theory.
Let's get into that. So Jovani, a lot of people have often wondered who Jovani's father is, right? Because he's never mentioned. Even in all of his paperwork, well, not paperwork, but background, and the life of his background, Sam Sr. has been pretty much the only father presence around him besides his grandfather. So people often wondered who is his father. So we will be talking about Jovani's father on Coffee. Okay, so make sure you guys go over to Coffee tomorrow. It's going to be a very lit show. So we'll get into that tomorrow. But it's weird that bringing that up because Jay Polar likes to go live and say how, this person's father's in jail, this person's father's in jail, this person's father wasn't there for them. Jovani's father, from what we've gathered, has had nothing to do with his existence. So you should be the last person talking about fathers. Okay? When Jovani was born, in September 1993, his mother was 15 years old when she gave birth to him. Jay Psycho Polar. She had custody of him less than a year. She gave custody to her mother and her father immediately because Jovani did not have health insurance, and that was the only way to get him insurance at the time is by them making him like a literal dependent type of situation. After that, she would basically visit Jovani. She did not take care of him. She did not. Has Jay Polar not gone around and told y'all? Because I'll give you my hints. And Lachelle, hey girl, Lachelle took care of Jovani along with her mother and her father. I'm about to put this puzzle together for y'all. Just want to say, Jay Polar, you messed up with the right one. Let's get it. Jay Polar gave her child Jovani when he was born. God rest his beautiful soul. Before he was even one, basically. That was the situation. Lachelle helped with Jovani. That's why her kids and Jovani were close. But Jovani's older than all of her kids except for her oldest. Except for her oldest son. Because Lachelle had a child young too. So that was the first grandchild of the family. So her son is the oldest of the grandchildren. Now, Lachelle said that around the time of her getting married, her sister, Jay Polar, came and told her that her husband R-worded her. Jovani was born at 15. When she was 15. She's around the age 14, 15. This allegedly happened. So, Lachelle, is that why you took care of Jovani? Your husband allegedly R-worded Jay Polar around the age of 14, 15, correct? Jovani was had when Jay Polar was 15.
Guys, drop your comments, drop your thoughts. What are you thinking at this moment? Drop your comments in the comments section. Let's discuss it further.
No one has heard nor seen Jovani's father.
Guys, you know, in the Black family, there are a lot of secrets.
Is that why you took care of him? J. Polar, under Jovani's name, the Wallaces are the only, for father role, the Wallaces come up. Your last name isn't Wallace.
Isn't Jamie Wallace Lachelle's husband's name? Drop it in the comment section.
Your last name isn't Wallace. You said around the time your sister got married, okay, that Jamie, your sister's husband, Jamie Wallace, murdered you. Jovani was born when J. Polar was 15.
I hope you guys are following. He's connecting the dots. Like I told you guys, I don't happen to agree. I think he got a Wallace name, if that's the case, because they wanted to raise him as their own, to give him family structure.
None of you in the family have discussed Jovani's father. Not even you, Lachelle. So like I said, when it came to J. Polar saying that her sister's, especially since your husband, Jamie, has a record of hurting you, DV, Lachelle, y'all went through a lot, and whatnot. He has a track record. I mean, he has a pattern of a person that. So again, for anybody that's confused, I'll tell you, Jovani's father has never been mentioned. J. Polar does not speak of Jovani's father. She'll cuss Sam Singer out. She'll cuss him out. But we know that Sam Singer is Sam Jr.'s father. We know that. We know. Mm-hmm. When Jaguar, she said when she was 14, 15, that age, or around, or 14, I believe it was. She's told this story time and time again on 500 different platforms.
But she never said Lachelle's husband is the father of Jovani. And I believe if he was the father, she would have said it on top of the mountain, because she wants to hurt him so badly. And she wants to get even with Lachelle so badly that she would have said it. Look, it's a difference of opinion. I have my own opinion in this matter. SDW have his. We can agree to disagree. We share different opinions when it comes to this matter.
500 different platforms. She just did one, Real Life Street Stars. They just posted a video about it not too long ago, her interview about it. So, J. Polar said that her sister's husband, Jamie, before they got married, R-worded her. And she stuck to that story. She still repeats it to this day. She had Jovani at 15. Jovani's father has never been listed. And the source of the father that does pop up is in the Wallace family. So, is Jamie Wallace Jovani's father?
That's a good question. Only Jaguar can answer that, and her family members, because they were there and they know exactly what happened. And since nobody's talking, mom's the word, they don't even mention the father, a lot of people are going to be speculating who the papi is. And if Jovani had Lachelle's husband's last name, then a lot of eyebrows are going to be raised. But since I can't see any paperwork to confirm who the father is, I have to say all of this is alleged. I can't say alleged on Sean Davy Vay's part, but I can say alleged on my part.
It's a question. It's definitely possible. So let's not talk about kids, because we can talk about kids. She has never went forward and discussed Jovani's father. Ever. The closest it's gotten to is her story about when she was sexually active, and that was her being murdered at 14 by her sister's husband to be. So when Jovani was given custody, full custody, to J. Paula's parents, LaShelle raised him with her mother and her father until her father passed away. Absolutely. And then it just became more so of primarily LaShelle and Mama Frances that took care of Jovani. The only time Jovani was with J. Polar, like truly with her, was when she was married to Sam. That is when Jovani kind of comes back into the picture. And not for long. Because not too soon after that, he moved back with his grandmother and with his around his son. That's what they were.
To be quite honest, guys, in black families, we see that all the time, where extended family members' children are raised by other family members without any problems. I seen it in my own family. I had an aunt, a second aunt, my mother's aunt, my great aunt. She had, I believe it was 26 children, and she would take in other children to raise them. And they all call her mom. They grew up calling her mom, although she wasn't their mother. And so we see it in black families all the time. So that's not proving that LaShelle's husband is Jovani's father. I would have to see it on the birth certificate. That is the defining factor in this. I would have to see the birth certificate, and it would have to say his name for me to believe that man is the papi. Because Jaguar never said it. And I know Jaguar from the outside looking in, and if that man was Jovani's father, she would have said it a long time ago. I just think she don't know who the father is. That's why it was never mentioned. She doesn't mention it, nor her family, because they don't know, and she don't know. This is all hypothetical. This is alleged. I don't know for sure. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But you guys drop your comments. Don't forget to hit the like bell. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet.
So yeah, she did not raise Jovani at all. You were a visitor, is what you were. You would visit him. Remember this profound career you had? Where was he? You wasn't Blue Ivy in this situation. You didn't Beyonce Blue this situation. You didn't. He wasn't up on tour with you, none of that. Who had him while that stuff was going on? Yeah. So yeah, you didn't raise him at all. You did not. You were like a friend, like a homegirl, a big auntie type of situation, like a cousin, then a mother. LaShelle was his mother figure. On Mother's Days, he would always give a profound message to her and his grandmother. But you weren't in it. Why? J. Paula, I've been on your old Facebooks and all of that. You only have pictures of Jovani when he's young, and only a few of those. What happened throughout? Like, it's just a huge gap. Like, where were you? Because where was he? Where were you?
Man, oh man, this have so many twists and turns. I'm thinking of so many things. At 14 years old, giving birth to a baby. If you don't know the father, who the father is, maybe your sister decided that she's going to give the child her married name and raise the child as her own. But it only points the finger to her husband if anyone should question why this child have that last name. Because the child could have gotten the maiden name from the mother, Jaguar Wright, the last name Wright. And why Jaguar does not have pictures of this child growing up? Did she and her family had a falling out that they did not send her any pictures? There's so many questions, but Jaguar herself or the family would have to answer them. And then again, she might not even know who the father is, like I said earlier in the video. And that's why maybe he's not mentioned by her nor the family.
Where were you? Yeah, he don't do I love you mom posts. Nothing. He didn't do none of that. Mm-mm. He really didn't discuss you on his social media at all. Honestly. He didn't even talk about you. He didn't. It's like he didn't even claim you. Honestly. There wasn't no, his Mother's Day post was still a shell and his grandmother. There is no post of you. And his happy mother. No. Mm-mm. Yeah. Jovani didn't like you. Yeah, and I think that hurt him because you were supposed to be his mother. Yeah. So, he didn't like you. He didn't. It's true. Mm-hmm. Do anything for her. If she'll do anything for me, she already has. So, yeah. He posted Lachelle and Francis often, and his little brother. But he didn't post, he didn't talk about you. He did not. He didn't. That's why you can't put up a post of him saying Happy Mother's Day, I love you. You can't put any of that up. Because he didn't say it. He didn't say that. Because you weren't like a mother. You weren't. That's why y'all always combat at each other. Y'all fought often. You could tell. So when the family says that y'all fought all the time and that you were not getting along with him, you were literally beefing with your own son when he died. You lying, telling people that you've seen him or a bunch of holes him and all of that. You're lying. You never saw him. When you saw him, he was in on a slab, like in the bag. Like, they unzipped it. Like, the most they let you see is the head. Like, they don't let you see anything. They don't shut it all the way down because you weren't there.
Boy, oh boy, was that not a lot of information. You guys drop your comments. Tell me how you all feel about this information. I'm over and out. Don't forget to hit the like bell, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you for watching.